News.
See what's up today.
Okay, it's working. So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA. We're going to talk about modeling and machine learning and artificial intelligence. It only has to beat humans. It doesn't have to be intelligent. And so, away we go. Here we go. Let's start with the commercial. She's pulling her stuff out of the cab, and away goes the cab with the turkey on the roof. Somebody else is burning the food. And they're drinking Heineken. And he doesn't get it. You'd think he'd pick up another fare and there would be somebody in there that say, hey, there's a turkey on your roof. Turkey's overrated, I think, for Christmas. Anyway, enough of that. Don't forget, we're having our Jingle Mingle tomorrow. No, Friday. This is only Wednesday. I believe I sent out the links to everybody. If you want to be nice, you can click and register. That helps me know all the important people that are coming. Joanne Gore's coming. How about that? And I'm all excited. I don't think she's been to one of these before. And she's very, very knowledgeable and articulate. So that'll be fun. We have Steve Falk signed up. And he does some great videos about direct mail. He's a direct mail guy. And a couple other people. Not mention all the people who've written me and said they're not coming, so shame on them. But anyway, so there should be an email in your bucket about the Jingle Mingle, and if you don't want to register, the Zoom link is in there at the bottom, so you can just click that and show up. That's all right. Anybody's welcome. This is come one, come all. Okay, and it's Friday afternoon at 2. Matthew Parker in the UK said it was too late for him, and the guys out at Gunderson said it was too early for them. So you can't win. It's tough when you have a 12 time zone bunch of friends. It's hard to plan a party. Anyway, but drop in if you can, and send me a note if you can. I don't know what good it is, but it helps me know you're alive. Okay, so on another note, let's get over to this news. Land's End deploys movable inks Da Vinci. And Ray Schultz wrote this up. And according to Sarah Rasmussen, Chief Customer Officer at Land's End, not sure what that means, the goal is to transform our email program as we drive, and here's where it gets scalable, contextually relevant communications that deliver what customers want. I'm a little nervous about that because that sounds like we're going to guess what you're going to want next, right? And if you look at this thing here, 65%, of course, I like the 65% off all vests, coats, and jackets. Wow. This is an all Land's End outfit today. My fleece, my turtleneck, and I need to open that Land's End and buy something. But anyway, for this year, I would buy something every year pretty much. I'd like that email. I want the one he's got, right? But trying to guess what you're going to want next is a mystery, and that's one of the benefits of the catalog, because it shows you a lot of information, and it's a wish book, and you can find something you like. So I'm a little skeptical, let's just say. I would love to do a follow-up with Land's End in a year or two and see if it accomplished these goals in a measurable way. So I'll reach out to Sarah Rasmussen, and maybe we'll have a little conversation. I think that would be wonderful. Okay, so there's been a lot in the news about ChatGPT, and I tried to sign up for it. yesterday. Connie Loizos wrote this article, and excuse me, I'm getting a little bit of a tickle. I know I am. By Friday, I might be a mess. But anyway, ChatGPT is able to mimic human conversation, human thought process, writing process. And if you're a bad writer, I think it's pretty obvious that it could do better than you. So this guy at MIT down here, Paul Kandrosky, says that this is a nuclear bomb without restrictions into an unprepared society. He wrote, it's the most disruptive change in the U.S. economy, and it can mimic software engineering, high school essays, and legal documents. I saw something that sounded a lot like a consultant that doesn't know what to say, but fills it with lots of buzzwords, and it did an excellent job at that. An anonymous source at UCLA said they're getting hundreds per course, it must be a big course, and thousands per department, and they don't know what to do with them because they have no idea anymore what's fake and what's not, which is a side commentary on the writing skill of incoming college kids. And partly because they're so well educated about their self-esteem that they don't learn to write. The AI system is supposed to be self-catalyzing. They're learning from the requests. And this isn't new. The reason that Google voice to text is so much better than it was for 20 or 30 years. I kept an eye on it. Dragon Naturally Speaking by IBM. I actually talked with one of the developers who spent 15 years or 20 years on Dragon Naturally Speaking. And it never worked. I would install it, and I would train it, and it never worked. And so I was familiar with it, and I asked him about, was it frustrating that it never really worked? And then Google comes along, and in 3 or 4 years, figures it out. And he said, well, if I would have had that data set, I could have figured it out too. And what he meant was, what Google did was it kept track of the corrections. So when it would translate your voice to text, for whoever it was, when it would translate that, and then the person would come in and fix it, that was how it learned. And that may be how this learns also, because, as I said, it's not good writing at this point, and it may never be good writing. There's an art to good writing, right? It's right now it's not even following some basic rules, and I'll illustrate that in a minute. But they're working on a watermark, which I thought was an excellent idea, so that AI-generated content would somehow have an invisible clue in it that would say that it was generated content. Now, I don't know what you do. I mean, this isn't that hard to, usually watermarks, the way you beat them is you take the text out, you put it in something like Notepad that has no real capability of HTML. It's just text, and if you don't, you can go to the command prompt and dump it in. There are places where you can get rid of all the external junk around text. And so you cut and paste it into text, and you bring it back into a Word document or Open Office document, and you'd get rid of it. Or if you did it a little piece at a time, you'd probably get rid of it too. So I don't think that's going to work, but it might work for the lazy people who aren't skilled. Anyway, interesting topic. And, they said, well, maybe we can just do oral exams. Now that would be something. That was the way it used to be done. But the article gets kind of far afield of what the implications might be. So then we get over to Ritson, which is why I started down this ChatGPT uh, path in the first place. Um, is ChatGPT the next big threat to Google's dominance in the AI market? And it goes on to Mark talks about how in the year 2000, when Google came along. Now, before that, I was using Lycos and Dogpile and some others, and you could find a lot. What really broke those and made them not workable was that the websites, in order to get your website seen, you had to put in, like I owned whitetail.com at the time. I still own part of whitetail.com. And if you wanted to get it up at the top of the search engine, you type in the hidden text behind the website, behind what showed on the website. You would type whitetail, whitetail deer. You make copy and paste, make hundreds of them. And a lot of times that would get it higher up in the search rankings. But you, the web builder, the website builder, defined what your site was, what it was about, what it was found with. What Google did was they flipped that around and they said, much like with the voice recognition, they flipped it around and they said, instead of trying to recognize voices, what we're going to do is we're going to start recognizing the mistakes that we're making. And so what Google did was it said, let's prioritize websites that are linked by other websites, so that the author of the website doesn't control how many people are referring to his website. It makes the better websites, the more popular websites, more highly ranked. And it also, back in the day, both of these put human components into the algorithms. So the correction algorithm made it so people were involved in evaluating the voice to text, right? Like real time. And if you had enough data of people fixing the words, you might find the words that are difficult and work explicitly on those. It's called a labeled data set, and the humans were labeling it. The same thing with Google when it started out. Humans were labeling it because other humans were creating backlinks to your site. And the more of those you had, the better your site was ranked. But then, of course, humans also figured out ways to game that and would create hundreds or thousands of websites that would refer back to their primary website so that it would get higher rankings. And so it's been a battle ever since, with Google fighting with the creative humans to try to find out what's real and what isn't, and how to get humans into the process so that we know what's real and what isn't. So anyway, Google made that flip, and Mark was astounded back in 2000. 20 years later, people are experiencing a similar reaction to GPT. New language processing tool developed by OpenAI. Some are suggesting it could pose a threat to Google, one of the most dominant and successful companies in the world. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back and consider what ChatGPT is and what it's capable of. And then it goes in. ChatGPT uses advanced machine learning algorithms to generate human-like text based on the input it receives. First of all, I watched one of the head of development at Google, and she explained that the algorithms aren't new at all. They were, basic regression was from the 1840s, I think, and a lot of the stuff that Google uses is from the 1950s. They didn't really invent any algorithms, and so I doubt that ChatGPT did either. Okay, what happens is that you get better at handling the mistakes and handling right. That's basically it. So it has the potential to be disruptive in many industries. It's poised to make a significant impact, can help search engines be more efficient and user-friendly, can improve results that are returned, and make it easier for users to find information. Okay, and I wondered, when I read this, I thought, this is really bad writing. It's very repetitive, lots of buzzwords. Don't believe it. This doesn't sound like Mark Ritson. ChatGPT and again, same construction. A large language model has been trained to generate human-like. It's very, very repetitive. long sentences. It can answer questions, provide information, write text, even engage in conversation, all with a level of naturalness and fluency that is impressive, to say the least. Look at that sentence. Okay, I would love to do the grammar checker on that sentence and see what writing level it is. It's high, but it doesn't convey much information that hasn't already been conveyed. So I'm thinking, what's wrong with Mark Ritson? Is he drunk? Is Mark Ritson drunk? What happened to him? He used to be a good writer. I used to like reading his stuff. And then we get to the bottom, and it explains that it's just an add-on. And here it says, the conclusion is ChatGPT is a cool tool, but isn't going to disrupt Google. But right here, it was asked to write this week's column by Mark Ritson in the style of Mark Ritson, with a focus on its potential to disrupt Google. Are you impressed? I'm not that impressed. Sorry, hate to say it. But it's terrible writing, and I think Mark was right to do it. And if you didn't notice that it wasn't Mark, then you maybe shouldn't be reading Mark. I like reading Mark, and I'm glad that's what it said at the end, because otherwise I thought he had a stroke or something. So I'm not saying it's not useful. It won't give you groundbreaking strategic insights, because it's looking at the past, it's digesting it, and spitting it back to you in a way that tries to fool you into thinking that it's actual creativity. It may be more creative than most creativity, which is a sad commentary on us humans. Have a great day. Merry Christmas. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart.